Hey friends, my name is Donna Amidon, and today we're in the second half of Acts chapter 9. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever sat down to play a game with a friend and you just cannot keep up? Well, this is how it is when I play chess with my son Isaiah. He always wins. And so one day after a game, I said, Isaiah, tell me, how do you do this? Walk me through what you're thinking. And then Isaiah got this big smile on his face and he said, well, Mom, if I move my knight here, then you're probably going to move your rook here, which is going to set up my queen for the win. You see, Isaiah was mapping out every move and saw how every piece worked together toward the bigger plan and the final goal. And I begin with this story because it makes me think about what we're seeing in Acts. Today we're going to look at the events of Acts chapter 9 and see how it sets up a significant moment for the early church in Acts chapter 10. Now, in the first half of Acts 9, we read of Saul's transformation, and you'd think the rest of the chapter would stay on Saul. But the focus abruptly shifts back to Peter. Let's pick it up in verse 32. Now, as Peter went here and there among them all, he came down also to the saints who lived in Lydda. There he found a man named Aeneas, bedridden for 8 years, who was paralyzed. And Peter said to him, Aeneas, Jesus Christ heals you. Rise and make your bed. And immediately he rose. Now, the excitement only increases. The scene shifts from Lydda to Joppa, where a woman named Tabitha had died. The people knew Peter was in a nearby town, so they sent for him. And when Peter arrives, he performs an even greater miracle. Verse 40 says, But Peter put them all outside, knelt down, and prayed. And turning to the body, he said, Tabitha, arise. And she opened her eyes, and when she saw Peter, she sat up. Imagine the scene. People are mourning. They're calling out for Peter, and God uses Peter to raise Tabitha from the dead. It's the first resurrection in Acts. People are coming to Jesus, and not only is this an exciting moment, but God is moving the pieces in place for what happens next. Now, what do I mean? Well, people are coming to the Lord, yes, but there's more. The people's confidence in Peter's ministry is growing. Think about it. He's preached at Pentecost. He's healed a paralytic and even raised someone from the dead. Peter stands at this point as the central messenger of truth. And this is very important because of the way God will use him next. Now, what happens? In Acts 10, Peter does the unexpected. He extends the gospel message beyond the Jewish community to the Gentiles. Now, this might not seem like a big deal to you or me, but for the Jews, this was huge. You see, there was tension between the Jews and Gentiles, but God wanted the world to know that the gospel is for all. You see, God was working through Peter, confirming his ministry in supernatural ways, and these miracles made it clear to everyone that when Peter preached the gospel to the Gentiles, it was truly the work of God. Peter's ministry laid the foundation for one of the most transformative moments in church history. That is, opening the door for the gospel to reach the entire world. Friends, we serve an amazing God with an amazing message and plan. And just as God called Peter to reach those who had not yet heard the gospel, so he calls you and me to reach that person who has not yet heard the good news of Jesus. For Peter, it was the Gentile. And for us, it may be that coworker, that tennis partner, that single mom across the street. So know that we are praying for you today, praying that God would orchestrate the details of our lives so that we can share the good news. Let me ask you, who will you share with today? We'd love to hear your stories about how God is orchestrating your life.